Welcome to the Wire to Wire podcast. As always, it's me, your host Yusuf. Now, without further ado, let's just get right to it. Now, you guys see the title of this episode. It's getting real crazy out here. This stems from the idiotic comments LeBron made about ring culture as a way to cope for his losing finals record. But it opened up a Pandora's box of revisionist history. Now we have former players who have never won in their careers trying to rewrite history as though we were not around to see it. In an effort to do this, there has been an emphasis on downplaying and discrediting Kobe Bryant, the late, great Kobe Bryant. And the two main culprits that have been doing this as of late is Gilbert Arenas and Tracy McGrady. They were dynamic guards that were incredible scorers, but they came nowhere close to being winning players. In fact, an argument can be made that they were perennial losers that didn't make their teammates better or elevate their teams to victory. Now, Gilbert Arenas, I genuinely do not care for, but Tracy McGrady was one of my favorite players growing up. So it's equally sad and disgusting to see that he has reduced himself to such low-level loser tactics such as what he just did. I'm going to play a clip, and I'm sure that some of you, or maybe many of you, have already seen this. But I'm just going to play what Tracy McGrady had to say in regards to Kobe Bryant. Just to give you guys some context, this was on ESPN's First Take, where they had Stephen A. Smith, Jay Williams, Gilbert Arenas, and Tracy McGrady. Okay? So here are the comments of what he said.
That are championship worthy. What I mean by that, if you take them off a team that is a championship quality team, replace me with Kobe with Shaq. I don't win a championship. You don't think I could carry the Lakers to a championship? Like, I've never had the opportunity.
Correct.
I felt like if I was put in that position to win a championship, I damn sure would show up and do what I do in the playoffs to elevate my team to that level. I just never had the chance. So do I get diminished because I never won a championship?
Right.
Yeah, that's what is it my fault?
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying.
Right.
Okay, so you guys heard him there. This to me is out of pocket and disrespectful. Tracy McGrady and Kobe Bryant, from my understanding, used to be cool. They did an interview with Rachel Nichols where they were sitting down side by side and were speaking very highly of one another. At no point did Tracy McGrady say the foolishness that just came out of his mouth in the clip you just saw. Why didn't he say it right then and there when he was sitting beside him? This to me is out of pocket and disrespectful. Trying to downplay and diminish the role that Kobe Bryant played on those early 2000s Lakers team from 2000 to 2002 and to act like you can just take him off that team and put Tracy McGrady or any star player there and they would also be successful, to me is a ridiculous assertion. Tracy McGrady was a great individual player. He was a great scorer and had a great skill set. No one can take that away from him. However, he did not have the heart, the tenacity, the resilience, and the mentality necessary to be a winner. Here's the thing about winning. It's not just about throwing a bunch of talent on a team and then through that talent, you end up getting to the finish line and winning championships. There is a huge mental aspect that is needed to win, let alone form a dynasty. Kobe Bryant was the emotional and mature leader of those Laker teams, and Phil Jackson understood that he could reason with Kobe at a far deeper intellectual level than he could with Shaq. However, Shaq was a physical and dominant force who was impossible to guard in the paint at that time. So they recognized that he posed a competitive advantage, and so they leaned into it. But they had many challenges amongst themselves because their personalities were diametrically opposed to one another. Kobe was a hard worker who dedicated every waking hour to the game. And Shaq was a physical giant that just liked to have fun and wanted to live his life outside of the game of basketball. Kobe believed in preparation while Shaq believed in playing himself into shape. I say all of this to say that it was Kobe that was an equal partner in winning those championships. There is no way that Tracy McGrady could have mentally filled that void in the Lakers locker room when Shaq was not taking things seriously as much as he should have. Tracy McGrady is not someone who is known for his intensity and his will to win. So I cannot say that if you put Tracy McGrady on that Lakers team instead of Kobe Bryant, that they are winning 3 championships. Against the Indiana Pacers, when Shaq fouled out and it was time for Kobe Bryant to elevate his game and lead them to victory, that's what he did. Do I know that if I plug Tracy McGrady into that exact same situation, that he would have the mental fortitude in order to do that? I know he has the talent and potential to possibly do it. But does he have the mental fortitude necessary to do it? That I don't believe. I don't know that they're getting out of the Western Conference and going to the finals with Tracy McGrady instead of Kobe Bryant. I don't know that in those battles against the Sacramento Kings, that Tracy McGrady would have the mental ability to elevate his game and be able to get past that challenge. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And I don't know that because what I've observed from Tracy McGrady throughout his playing career was that he was not that caliber of player. There's levels to this, and he was not at that level. And his playoff record would suggest otherwise. He has never been out of the first round. When he went to the San Antonio Spurs in 2013 as a bench warmer, he was just riding the bench and was 30 seconds away from winning a championship in Game 6 against the Miami Heat. But Ray Allen put an end to that. Meanwhile, Kobe Bryant won another 2 rings without Shaq in 2009 and 2010 and got to the finals in 2008. So what are we talking about? It's easy to say that, oh, if this happened, if that happened, oh, what if that happened? Take this guy out and put this guy there. What would happen? Like, these are loser hypotheticals. This is not a thing. And this whole situation that's happening right now is actually a testament to how smart Kobe actually was. He knew that as long as he played with Shaq, people will try to use that as a means to discredit him and invalidate his career. He wanted to prove to himself that he can win without Shaq. And he was frustrated that he was a hard worker. He was the glue keeping that team together. And people would just immediately go straight to crediting Shaq because of how physically dominant he was. He knew that people would just say, well, Kobe was just along for the ride and Shaq was actually leading them to all those championships. Look at the discussions that are happening now. So that literally proves why Kobe Bryant told the Lakers, you have to choose either me or Shaq. I don't want to play with this guy anymore. And it now makes perfect sense. So his decision has been validated. And it's just unfortunate that he's not alive to see that his decision has been validated. But then again, if he was alive, I guarantee that Gilbert Arenas and Tracy McGrady would not be talking like this. They wouldn't dare to say the foolishness that they're saying right now. And here's an example of how I know that Tracy McGrady and Shaquille O'Neal would not work. McGrady started his career with the Raptors, and he left as a free agent because he didn't want to be under the shadow of his cousin Vince Carter, who was taking the basketball world by storm. He wanted his own shine, and he wanted the attention for himself. McGrady, if he was truly a winning player, wouldn't you think that he would say, I'm going to stay right here in Toronto with my cousin and we're going to build something special here and try to deliver a championship as a tandem? But instead, he left out of insecurity. Shaq used to play with Penny Hardaway on the Orlando Magic, And he admitted himself that he had a certain level of jealousy and resentment towards Penny Hardaway. And this is something that you can look up. It came directly out of Shaq's mouth. So if you have two players that are prone to insecurity and jealousy, how is that going to contribute to a team dynamic that is poised to win championships? In 2004, when the Lakers played the Pistons in the finals, there was a lot of emotional turmoil that caused them to lose. So what would it look like if T-Mac feels a resentment towards Shaq because of him getting all of the accolades? And how would Shaq feel that Tracy McGrady is making all of these highlight plays and he is being viewed as this dynamic offensive player? I believe that would create a chaotic locker room. And chaotic locker rooms don't win several championships. The reason why the Lakers worked is because Kobe Bryant cared more about winning championships than anything else. He also had a brilliant coach in Phil Jackson who saw how much Kobe cared about winning, and he was able to get him to buy in to see the bigger picture, even if that meant making Shaq the focal point because of how dominant he was in the paint. Make no mistake, Kobe was also a focal point, but because Shaq posed such a mismatch in the paint, it was just smart basketball to feed the big man. And if it's so easy to win just by having Shaq on your team, why couldn't him and Penny Hardaway win together? It's not like you can just do a plug and play. He needed a very specific type of mentality and player by his side in order for them to be a victorious team year in and year out. There is nothing to suggest that T-Mac would be that guy. T-Mac, like I said, was a very talented and dynamic scorer and a player at his peak, right? He was very skilled, but so was Penny Hardaway. But if we're going to play this game, then what if you take LeBron out of that Miami Heat big three and you put Carmelo Anthony there instead? Carmelo is not winning rings. If you put Iverson on the Spurs and take out Tony Parker, is AI not winning rings? This whole hypothetical conversation is just dumb. But another thing that was said that was thoroughly untrue came from Gilbert Arenas. I know, what's new? For some reason, well, we do know the reason. He's compromised because of Clutch Sports. Gilbert Arenas has taken it upon himself to try and diminish Kobe Bryant's legacy, especially the past couple of years. He was recently referring to Kobe Bryant as a sidekick. He was saying that Kobe Bryant was in the conversation to be the next Scottie Pippen. He said that in 2002, there were some debates about whether Kobe Bryant or Tracy McGrady were in the conversation for who's the best player in the league. There's a lot of misinformation being presented by Gilbert Arenas. So I am going to debunk all of these points. Number one, this idea that there was a conversation that Kobe Bryant was going to be the next Scottie Pippen, that was never a thing. Kobe was always being compared to Michael Jordan. And I'm going to play you guys some clips that will completely debunk this.
We would have had the triangle, so we thanked them last year when we won the championship.
One more thing before we let you go, Kobe. We had kind of a lively debate here in the pregame show about Kobe Bryant at 21 and Michael Jordan at 21. You have guys like Charles Barkley and Michael Finley and Kenny Smith all debating this, trying to figure out if you're a better player at that age than Michael Jordan was. Do you want to weigh in on this, or do you find it all amusing?
No, people. I think people just talk about that just to talk, really. Michael, he's the greatest player of all time, and
Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. But I didn't think he was good as you at 21. I don't think so. I think he's the greatest player ever, and obviously you got a long way to go. But I ain't never seen a 21-year-old guy. You 22 now?
Yes.
Play as well as you playing right now.
Thank you.
If you think Kobe is better than Michael at age 24.
I do. I think all around he's better. I mean, all the different facets that go into the game, I think Kobe is at a higher level at this point than Mike was.
And Sam, you were there during the Jordan years, wrote the book, The Jordan Rules. Do you think that Kobe is better than Michael at age 24?
He's close. It's very similar. Kobe, obviously, he's a much better shooter than Michael is. He's not as ferocious at the basket with the ball. To me, the amazing thing is that we're actually talking about it. Who would have expected, even at this point, that we'd be talking about somebody on the level of Jordan? But what Kobe's been doing and what Kobe's been playing, you have to make the comparison for the first time, and I don't think we would have thought it would come this quickly.
Jack, let me ask you that here's Michael at age 24. He was in his 4th year. Kobe at age 24 in his 7th year. How much of an advantage is that for Kobe?
Well, he started at a disadvantage, obviously, but he's quickly regained his pace. I think Kobe's learning process was probably better and more accelerated than Michael's. Sam mentioned that he's not as ferocious at the basket, but I think he's more creative. He's more agile. He has more stuff when he gets in the air. And I think also he's playing against much tougher defenses, with the zone defenses being permitted, double, triple teams, and he doesn't have many shooters to go along with him. I think he's doing very, very well.
People have been talking about comparisons with Michael Jordan for years, but more now than ever.
Why? Let it go. Leave it alone,
Can I just ask a question? Can I just ask a question? How you gonna get mad at that comparison?
I'm not mad at it. You're talking about the greatest that ever played the game.
Okay.
Come on. I mean, just let me do me. Right. Just let me do me.
But does not Kobe want to be the greatest?
Yeah, I want to be compared with Michael Jordan.
But don't you want to be the greatest?
I want to be the best I can be. You understand what I'm saying? Like, Michael is Michael. You gotta let me be me. You know, we're different people, man.
Okay, I'll move on.
Thank you.
I'll move on.
It's starting to happen again, Mark. The conversation, the debate on is he as good as Michael Jordan? It's been blasphemy to say it, really, about anybody, but it's an actual discussion you can have now.
Well, I said it a year and a half ago. No way in the world would I ever put anybody in the conversation with Michael Jordan. But Kobe Bryant is there. He's as good as Michael Jordan on any given day. I said to Bryant yesterday, it's almost like Larry Holmes and Muhammad Ali. He looked at me and said, I'm not Larry Holmes. And he is 100% right. It is two Muhammad Alis when you talk about Jordan and Bryant.
So you guys saw those clips. That is self-explanatory. That narrative, disproven. To the points that he made, that Kobe Bryant was a sidekick, or that him and Tracy McGrady were in competition for being the best player in the league. Now that's simply not true, and I actually have some receipts. I have these books that I used to enjoy reading when I was growing up. I used to read them a lot back when I was in elementary school as well as middle school, but I remember the contents of these books very vividly. And I'm going to read you guys a couple of excerpts just to prove to you that at that time period when these books were released, what the actual discussion and what the mainstream narrative was at that time. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to read to you is from this book here that discusses the Dynasty Lakers. And these are comments that were made directly by Shaquille O'Neal. This is a quote by Shaq. I told Kobe he's my idol. When laughter filled the room, Shaq dropped his head slightly and plunged forward. Here's a quote by Shaq again. No, I'm serious. He's phenomenal. He's the best player in the league by far when he's playing like that. Scoring, getting everybody involved, playing good defense. I can now say he's the best player. He's the best on all 9 planets. That's the end of the quote there. That's his own teammate saying that. But wait, there's more. This is a book from Carmelo Anthony. After the conclusion of his rookie season, the 2003 to 2004 season that Gilbert Arenas seems to be lamenting. I want you guys to listen to the quote of what Carmelo Anthony had to say in his autobiography at that time. Kobe said he was looking forward to playing against me. I thought, yeah, bring it on. Everybody looks up to Kobe on the court. I think he's the best player in the NBA right now. What are we doing here? Seriously, what are we doing here? His own teammate is saying it. Carmelo Anthony at that time is saying it. Seriously, what is this? What makes it so crazy is that Kobe Bryant is not alive to even defend himself. So Gilbert Arenas, who claims to be a Kobe fan and who says he has exact replicas or copies of his championship rings, and Tracy McGrady, who alleges that they were friends for decades, why do you even need to have this type of discussion? He's not even here to refute what you guys are saying. When Tracy McGrady did that sit-down interview sitting beside Kobe Bryant with Rachel Nichols, why didn't you keep that energy when you're sitting with him? Why didn't you say at that time, well, if we took you off the Lakers and put me there, I would be winning championships too? Where was that? When Gilbert Arenas was going on Vlad TV, or he had that show on Complex with Mia Khalifa, the mattress actress, when Gilbert Arenas was trying to make a name for himself in sports media. Yeah, I remember those times. Kobe Bryant was alive. Why weren't you bringing up these talking points then? Kobe had already been retired. This whole thing to me is just disgusting. And you know how people say that basketball and hip-hop are interconnected? I find it very interesting that while this discussion is going on, Dipset rapper Jim Jones is making an effort to try and disrespect and discredit another hip-hop legend, a real hip-hop legend, in Nas. What are you guys doing? But this tells me that there is a deeper-rooted issue at play. Unfortunately, within the Black community, there is a small faction of people who have this scarcity mindset, this crab in the barrel mentality, where they think they have to tear someone else down in order to uplift themselves. And Tracy McGrady can't feel validated in his own career and his own lack of winning unless he tries to diminish Kobe Bryant's winning in an effort to try and prop himself up. Gilbert Arenas at one time said, if you take Allen Iverson off of the 2001 Sixers and you put him there, he would average more points and would lead them back to the finals. That to me is ridiculous, BS, and untrue. Gilbert Arenas actually had better teams in the same Eastern Conference that Allen Iverson played in, and he only managed to win one playoff series in his entire career. But that's the whole point of what I'm saying. This revisionist history and the need to tear down others in order to uplift themselves. This is what Tracy McGrady and Gilbert Arenas are doing. And honestly, it's disgusting. Now, like I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to repeat this, Gilbert Arenas is not someone that I take seriously when it comes to any discussion involving basketball. Unfortunately, he has decided that he wants to go down the path of becoming a shock jock and saying things for the purpose of getting clicks, views, and going viral, rather than just giving honest and true basketball assessments. That's what he wants to reduce himself to. But if you look at the way his own playing career turned out, it's honestly not surprising. He's always been this way. So I generally don't take him seriously, and I don't care about what he has to say when it comes to anything related to basketball, or really any subject for that matter. I just don't care for his opinion. But like I said, I was equally shocked and disgusted and even disappointed that Tracy McGrady was talking the way that he was talking. Now, I normally don't ever talk about Gilbert Arenas on this platform, but because he was sitting there with Tracy McGrady when this whole thing was going on, there was no way around it. I was going to have to discuss Gilbert Arenas while also trying to dissect and disprove the foolishness that came out of Tracy McGrady's mouth. So in this case, it was a 2-for-1 special. But normally, I will never discuss what Gilbert Arenas says because I know that he's just trying to become a troll. Sorry, he is a troll. But this is the sad reality that we're living in. But that's all I got for you guys today. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and share this video with your people. You guys can also follow me and the podcast on social media. You guys can check out my books. All of the links will be in the description. Until next time.